Hey, what is up everyone? So in today's Sea of Thieves update, we got the final voyage that's being added for the Reapers, at least for this season, which is the Followers of the Flame voyage. This voyage is designed to be somewhat of a smaller Reaper voyage as opposed to its predecessor, which was a little bit more of an in-depth type of voyage. So going into this, I had no clue really how to do this voyage, so part of my review here is going to be kind of incorporating that a little bit. But overall, the goal of this video is to just inform you of everything about this voyage, how to actually complete the voyage, and then just my thoughts in general about the voyage. So this voyage took me about 15 minutes to complete. However, I think you could probably do it in about 10 minutes. For me, I spent like the first 5 minutes really trying to figure out how to actually do the voyage and just kind of learning the mechanics of the voyage, because it's a little bit confusing when you first do it. It doesn't really give you the best instructions when you're going into this voyage. So hopefully this video can help you not waste as much time as I did doing this. Because something to keep in mind with this voyage is that you have the Reaper's mark on you, just like the other Reaper voyage, meaning you're marked on the map. I think this voyage didn't really need a Reaper's mark on it. I get why they have it for the Reaper's bones, that they want to make it so that it's still like PvP focused. But this voyage is honestly a nice kind of casual, relaxing type of voyage. It's very peaceful, honestly. You're not really fighting a lot of PvE enemies. You're just kind of, searching around an island and just kind of going around looking for these other skeletons to recruit. So I don't really know if it really necessarily needed a Reaper's Mark, but we'll get to more of that later on in the video when I get more into like the review side of this. So the goal of this voyage is you're going onto this island, and after meeting with the Reaper Parrot, you'll get a lantern from them, which allows you to find 3 of the Follower of the Flame skeletons. Once you find all 3 of these Follower of the Flame skeletons, you'll be able to get them all together and turn them into the new Chest of Bones chest. And then you can take that and go sell it at Reaper's Hideout. So when you start the voyage, you first need to find the Reaper Parrot, and it will tell you in the little paper instructions that you have where you can find them on the island that you're at. So for mine, I was on Shipwreck Bay and said I need to go to the south of Shipwreck Bay to find the Reaper Parrot. This took me a little bit while to find. It was more inland than I was expecting. But if you have your headphones on and you're listening out in the game, or you can see the little text on the screen that pops up, you can actually hear the Reaper Parrot as you get close to it. As you start getting closer, it will start kind of calling to you, and you can just kind of follow its voice and be able to find it that way. Once you get there, you grab the lantern, and then when you pick it up, you need to raise it up like you're trying to light something with it. You have to basically have your lantern out the whole time during this voyage in order for this to work. You can't really, run around and then hold it up. It just doesn't really work that well. So you're going to be walking a lot during this voyage. Now, in the instructions, it tells you to raise the lantern and see the heartbeat, and it'll go faster when you get closer. I was trying to focus on that. I was thinking that it was going to be faster in terms of being closely together. But really what you want to focus on is how tall the flame is getting. So you'll notice when you're in different parts of the island, the flame would be pretty low, and every so often it will be, and you'll see it kind of flicker up a little bit. But really what you're looking for is, as you're walking around, you want to see if the flame starts going up or if it's going down. If it's going up, you're going in the right direction. It's kind of like playing a game of hot and cold. If you keep following it as the flame is getting taller, the heartbeat will go faster and faster, and the sound of the heartbeat will become more and more intense. Once you get close enough, you'll see this red ring on the ground that tells you where to actually go and dig. Once you get close to it, you'll see some cracks on the ground, and that's indicating that that's a dig spot. Once you learn that that's how this lantern works, it becomes a lot faster in terms of finishing this voyage. Now, something to keep in mind that was a little bit frustrating to me is that even if you go and check an area, you need to go back and check again if you've already gotten a skeleton. So the way that these skeletons work is it's not that you can just go and grab whatever skeleton at any point. It's in a certain order. So when I went to get the first skeleton at this little island that was kind of off of the main Shipwreck Bay. And then when I lifted up the lantern, there was nothing else there. And then I went around the island and found the second skeleton that was over on another little island off of Shipwreck Bay towards the north part of the island. And then I started following around, and then I realized the lantern was leading back to where I found the first skeleton, but it was a little bit next to it, sort of. So sadly, it doesn't seem to let you just like find both of them that are close by each other or go and find them in any order that you want. It has like a certain order that's guiding you in, which is a little bit annoying, but something to keep in mind so that if you are running around and you think you've already checked everywhere, try to check again to the places that you've already been. Something else to know about these skeletons is that you shouldn't just run off immediately after digging up the Follower of the Flame. They will actually go and dig up a little trinket for you as kind of like a reward basically after you've dug them up. So wait a little bit, let them go and grab their treasure, and then you can take that back to your ship or you can put it somewhere that you can harpoon at the end of your voyage. Once you find all three of the skeletons, you'll start hearing the music kind of blaring up in the background, kind of building up anticipation, and that's your cue to not use the lantern anymore, and instead you're going to follow the skeletons. You'll see the skeletons start kind of waving their hands at you to start following them, and then if you do start following them, they'll lead you to where the chest of bones is, and you can start digging that up. Then it will prompt you to have all the Follower of the Flames come together and meet you at that chest of bones crate. And then once you get them all together, you can actually basically do a ritual to bring all of those Follower of the Flames into that chest of bones and then reseal it essentially. Finally, for those interested in terms of how much you actually make from this voyage, I went ahead and did this voyage without any emissary on, and I just wanted to get the base value for this. So you go to Reaper's Hideout and sell it. The chest of bones got me a flat 9,000 gold with it, so that's pretty good. It's pretty similar to a Reaper's Bounty. Reaper's Bounty is a little bit more, but this obviously is on demand. It only takes like 10 minutes to do, so not too bad. And then you also have the trinkets, and I got about 5,000 for each trinket. So you're getting about 15,000 from all three of the trinkets that you get from the Follower of Flame skeletons. And then you have the chest of bones, which is another 9,000. So overall, for the amount of time that you spend doing it, I spent about 15 minutes doing this, but I think if you know what you're doing, you probably could do it in about 10 minutes, maybe even less. This is a pretty decent amount of money that you can make. Now, keep in mind, part of this voyage is the whole PvP aspect, which means that people might start attacking you while doing this. So if you're worried about being attacked, but you really do want to do this voyage, you want to get the accommodations done, I'd recommend, if you can, obviously not everyone can do this, try to play the game during kind of the off times, like non-peak hours. You'll probably have a better chance not being interrupted on your voyage if you're doing it, say, during the workday rather than, say, at night when everyone that's, at work is coming home to, play the game. That's something I would recommend, but also keep in mind, with this voyage being so new, a lot of people might be camping at Reaper's Hideout, or they might try to sneak up on you because they know you're doing this voyage. Personally, I don't think this voyage is really that worth it to steal from. If you see someone nearby, I mean, it's a good one to try to steal from, I guess. But overall, I wouldn't really go out of my way to try to go and steal this one. It's not really the same as the Banished Skull from the other voyage, but that's just my thoughts on it. Overall, looking at this voyage, I think it's a good voyage. Getting back to that Reaper's Mark, though, I feel like what I would have rathered is just them mark the chest of bones and not have a Reaper's Mark on the ship. I just feel like this voyage, I actually really enjoyed kind of the vibe of it, because it's one of the few voyages that we have in the game where you're not really fighting PvE enemies, you're not doing a lot of fighting in general. It's more of like an exploration type of voyage where you're just kind of wandering around an island and just looking for these things. I think that's a nice aspect of this voyage, and I think that people that don't really like PvP that much would find a lot of enjoyment from this voyage, but I think they might be scared off from having the Reaper's Mark on them. I think having the mark on the chest would be fine, just because that's really what people care about. They want to get that chest of bones. They don't necessarily care about finding the ship mid-voyage when they don't have anything yet. So I think they could tweak it, or if they do more Reaper's voyages in the future, maybe we can be a little bit more flexible on whether or not it has to have the Reaper's Mark on it. Something else to know about this voyage, though, is that you can do it in the Devil's Roar if you want. You can make a little bit more value from there if you do it over there, but you have a farther way to sail. So that's really up to you whether or not you want to sail a long time for more money, or if you just want to do it a little bit quicker. But that covers my thoughts on the new Followers of the Flame voyage. Let me know in the comments below, have you tried this voyage yet, and do you like it, or do you not like it? Let me know all your thoughts down there, but that's all I have for this video. If you enjoyed, it'd be great if you like and subscribed. And until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye y'all.